Hey everybody, Chris here. In this video, I'm going to be giving you my 2026 price prediction for Dogecoin and an overall outlook of the year ahead. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit that little notification bell too. You can be notified when new videos come out, as well as when I do live streams. It was a tough 2025, we all know that. The year ended on a whimper. Dogecoin ended the year at 11.8 cents. Nobody predicted that. We started 2025 with Dogecoin up near 32 cents. So yes, it was a very disappointing year. But the 4-year cycle for Bitcoin was still in play, as Bitcoin did hit a new all-time high in early October 2025 at $126,200, ended the year more around $87,000, $88,000. So the big drawdown we had over the past 3 months of 2025 was definitely noticeable even for Bitcoin. And I'll show you what that looked like for both Bitcoin and Dogecoin, particularly Doge in the last 3 months. That was tough. Again, that was all following the October 10th flash crash. We were live that afternoon, that Friday afternoon on October 10th. That was tough to see that. The manipulation in the market, the liquidity sweep. The leverage trading will continue though in 2026. Yes, we will have continued manipulation. We will have continued wipeouts of leverage, both short and long, that will continue to drive the crypto narrative. Unfortunately, we'll look at some of the other themes ahead for 2026. And of course, I'll be live Friday afternoon. That's right. We'll continue my live streams in 2026, and we'll be able to talk about these things in greater length. So join in, make sure you're subscribed, you've got all your notifications on, join in on the lives. We have a lot of fun, but also dig in a little deeper on what's going on. But let's get into it. Let me show you the charts and the news. I'll show you what I'm looking at. We start here with the current Dogecoin chart at 1313. That's right, we are over 13 cents. This is where we ended 2026 down here, or 2025 down here at 11.8 cents. That was disappointing, as we had the big sell-off here on New Year's Eve, and this was all the tax loss harvesting, right? Those that had profits from early January of 2025 were selling whatever they had with losses to offset some of their taxes. Personally, I did not do any of that because I was waiting to see if there was any sort of rally at the end of the year. It didn't happen. Prices were so depressed. I wasn't selling down here. I wasn't selling down there. And that actually proved to be the right move, because as soon as we hit the new year, there was buying. Now, a lot of this was buying back, right? Those that sold, right, got their loss on whatever other cryptos they had their loss on, just began buying right back in the new year, because there's no wash sale rule, right, for crypto, not yet anyway. I think this year we will see some regulations there with that, as well as other like guardrails and all of the regulations that the United States is going to be talking about. Again, my narrative is going to be more about stable coins. You see all these other like crypto Twitter accounts saying like this is going to be huge for Bitcoin and huge for crypto, and it really isn't. It's the banks getting their greedy little paws into crypto. And that's going to be my ongoing narrative, is that we're not going to see, at least for Bitcoin, these huge price swings anymore, at least not as we've seen in the past. But this is a nice start for 2026, a nice beginning of a relief rally. I'll continue to talk about that narrative here going forward. And we're actually back in the brown box. And again, these boxes that I've been using since October 10th to track the crypto action, particularly with Doge. So this is a good start. We're off to a good start for the year. And again, we'll look at Bitcoin as well. Bitcoin didn't quite make $90,000 this morning, but I think it will as we begin the relief rally of 2026. Now, looking back again, 2025, not only was Chris wrong, right? Remember, Dogecoin began 2025 at 32 cents. Nobody was predicting 11-cent Dogecoin by the end of the year. We were all in the 4-year cycle mode. 2025 was going to be better than 2024. That's what we have. But even all these guys were wrong about Bitcoin, like Eric Trump, right? We're going to be over 175,000. Michael Saylor, 150,000. Robert Kiyosaki, 180 to 200. Tom Lee, $250,000 Bitcoin before the end of 2025. Eamon Chamath, up to $500,000. Tim Draper, 250. Actual Bitcoin price was at 87K at the end of the year. So, I mean, everybody got the year wrong. So let's reset. Right? Let's keep it real. We'll look forward. And of course, for Dogecoin, there's two narratives. Again, now we'll be talking about that a little bit further along in this video, because that does continue to be what we have. The rainbow charts. I posted this in December 2025. I made this post and I said, look, we may never see the bright colors on the Bitcoin rainbow chart again. Who said the institutions, the regulations, and the banks being involved in crypto was a good idea? Because that's what everything has been about in the last half of 2025, was like, oh, this is going to be great for crypto. Is it really? That's why I say, is it really? So I think these rainbow charts are a thing of the past. This is where a lot of these price predictions were coming from for 2025. Up to 250, 300, and even up to almost like $1 million Bitcoin up at the top of the rainbow chart. And that's just not happening. So I start with that. And I know that's depressing, but we are 2026, which would be in the 4-year cycle, a bear market year. And there are some economic indicators that aren't looking good as we go forward. China Crypto says, look, Bitcoin, breakout or fake out. Bitcoin is in a pressure cooker. Resolution is near. If it breaks higher, 90 to 94K, we could see this range here on a relief rally. What do I mean by relief rally? Well, I mean that we will see a good January. But from there, things are going to get tricky. U.S. government shutdown, most likely January 31st. Yeah, I know. We're going to go through it all again. And that's going to be a challenge here at the end of January going forward. But this is a nice start of a breakout of a symmetrical triangle. And we'll look at that on Dogecoin in just a minute as well. We do have a CME gap. Yes, we begin the year with a CME gap down to 88,200. So for Bitcoin, most likely somewhere along the way, we're going to see a dip back down to the bottom of its brown box. Most likely we're going to see that. Got to close that gap. I didn't used to believe in those gaps, but now more and more that is becoming a thing. So, but hey, look, Bitcoin and ETH just hit new yearly highs. Yes, that's right. We have new yearly highs. And we have Dogecoin as well. I mean, its yearly high was right here at, what was that, almost 13 and a half cents. A yearly high. Of course, it's only January 2nd now. Tom Lee, 2026. Now, do you believe Tom Lee? I don't know. He's been wrong a lot, right? But he believes that for 2026, maybe somewhat rhyming with 2025, messy at first and a strong finish. And I only agree partially with that. I mean, he just gets things wrong. Totally wrong in 2025. But I think we have a good January, but then February, March gets tough. Q1 could bring policy uncertainty. We know that delayed rate cuts. It's not delayed. It's just, I've already said that the next FOMC in January, late January, near the end of the month, it's going to be a pause, no rate cuts. People are going to get all upset and worried about it. But it's like, I already know that that's what's going to happen. AI doubt will spring in somewhere. And then the S&P 500 is finally going to slow down and have a bit of a drawdown. I just don't think that's January. I think it's going to be a little later, but we'll see. In a Q3, Q4 recovery, well, maybe Q4. Q3s are always weak, and I think this one will especially be weak, and I'll be showing you my bear market bottom predictions in just a little bit. But we start with Doge. Doge, the 2026 first daily candle was green. Yes, we had a green first day of 2026. And now we're even higher because we're up in the 13s on day 2. So, hey, it's a start, right? From the big drawdown that we had, right? This is the recovery, beginning of recovery. So that is a good start for Dogecoin. But this last 3 months of 2025, down 20, down 21.3, down 19.9. That's 3 months of 20% drawdowns in Dogecoin to end 2025. That was tough. But look, here we are starting 2026. We're already up 11%. So it's a good start for the year for 2026. Now we can go and we can look at like the averages, right, for each month for Dogecoin. And typically, January is a good month. So that's why I'm predicting good month for January. Little pullback in February. April, that's going to be the big month, I think. Could be X money. We'll talk about that. But then the summer is going to be weak. The summer is going to be weak. And even this, the September gain that we typically have here is later in September. So I'm going to be concentrating on beginning of August and at the beginning of September for some low prices in the year ahead. So again, this is CoinCodex. They were looking at a relief rally here in January, and I'm looking for the same thing for Doge. We could see Doge up to 14, 15 cents here in January. We could see that kind of move, which would be a good start for Doge. And then Benzinga looks at 2026 price predictions after the 2025, of course, where they were later on in the month or the year of 2025, they had changed their 2025 price predictions from the 30s all the way down to the teens. And they said, well, 14.1 would be bearish in 2025, and it went at about 11.8 cents. So buying opportunity for Doge, sure. 2026, they've really tempered things a bit. Their bear prediction, though, was 17. So they're thinking 2026 is actually green for the year, even on the bearish mode. And we'll talk about those narratives going forward. What I would say is we're going to see a dip in these middle months. 2022 saw the worst pullbacks in like May and June going into the summer, and then a big pullback, another 10% in August. So we could see something like that happening again. Again, I think April is going to be a big month, not as big as 2021, but maybe between 2019, 2018, we could have a big explosion. But again, let me talk for a minute here about the bear market bottoms in the summer for those that may be looking to buy. I know that I looked at Doge, but I looked at a number of other cryptos as well in a recent live stream where I talked about bear market bottoms. If you want to see more details about that, check out my channel and look under my lives for the bear market bottom video where I talked more in detail about why I made these predictions. I started about 30 minutes into that live stream with all of that detail, so check that out. Let's take a look at my bear market bottom predictions for the summer 2026. And so whatever the high is to the low is what we look at. So what is the price that Bitcoin is going to fall to is going to be this. 66,000 right there. Bitcoins would be 66,000. Serpent God says 67K. We are in agreement. That's pretty close right there. This is actually 66,960. So yeah, 67. Now previously I was saying 69, right around there. Maybe there's a wick down a little bit lower, so 67. What's the Dogecoin bottom going to be? So the top after the liquidation leverage flush. I don't go to the all-time or whatever. I just do the liquidation flush. Where did Dogecoin trade up to? And where is the bottom so far? And we go from here to here. And what this says is the Dogecoin bottom is going to be, you're going to love this, Ryan. You're going to love it. 6.7 cents. This is not going to be good for ETH. It's not going to be good. People aren't going to want to hear this for ETH. The ETH bear market bottom. Well, people are going to be wanting to buy ETH here. 1,755. This is not going to be good for Litecoin. Litecoin ends up bear market bottom of $50. $50 for Litecoin. XRP. So there was the leverage flush. There was the high. And here was the low. So XRP will go down to $1.20. What is Solana going to look like? So there's the leverage flush. There was more liquidity there, so Solana didn't dip as much. Came back up to 209 and then dropped down to 119. So with that, Chris says bear market bottom for Solana, $63. So Pengu, after the leverage flush to the dip, in a bear market, right? In a bear market, it's right now less than a penny, 0.008. It would go down to 0.0022. 0.0022 for Pengu in the bear market. Now, for Bitcoin, again, if Bitcoin's doesn't go all the way down to the 1.618, which is like, you know, $67,000, maybe it only goes halfway. That would be about like 75. Again, that would be the theory that Bitcoin doesn't go down all the way to the 1.618. Okay, we're back. Now let's talk about the rest of the year and what's going to happen. So again, beginning January, Changelly's already wrong, right? They were saying, you know, January 2nd, 12 cents, 3rd back down to 11.8, 11.7, 11.6. But then by the end of January, they thought Doge would be up in the 13s. I'm predicting higher than that to begin the year. And like this is more in line of what I think we're going to be seeing is going to be, you know, 14 to 15 cent Doge. Now they're looking at the slow and steady, like month after month gains, and Dogecoin doesn't work like that, right? Dogecoin more goes on big spikes, drops back down, big spikes, drops back down, because we saw that throughout 2025 and even previous years. Obviously the big run we had in the end of 2024, but that was all narrative driven based on actual catalyst, what I call catalyst for Doge, which at the end of 2024 was Trump winning the U.S. presidential election along with Elon Musk. So Elon was involved, right? And then began Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, and everybody was all excited about that with Dogecoin, and Dogecoin's price like zoomed up to 48 cents. I'm not predicting 48 cents for Dogecoin 2026. Instead, if the bullish case would be Dogecoin has a big catalyst, let's say in April, X money, right? Because there's no sign of it starting now. It launched internally in December. I don't care about internally. I want to see it on X. I want to go onto my X account over here, and I want to see X money. Right? I don't see X money here right now. So X money doesn't exist as far as I'm concerned. I don't care if there's beta testing internally launched or whatever. I want to see it. Like I say right here, right? X money profile still says launching in 2025. Well, guess what? It's now 2026, and the X money account still says launching in 2025. Very disappointing, like I thought that would actually be, and that's what we have. So where are we going to go at the end of the year? It's going to be tough. Are we going to see a huge catalyst in Doge? Are we going to see other things? Is it going to be a Doge 1 mission, right? The Doge 1 rocket launch. Hey, the guys at Geometric still say like late summer 2026. That's the last I heard from them. So we'll be watching that going forward. Is something going to happen with Tesla? Probably, maybe with robo-taxis, right? The big robo-taxi. I mean, they're going to be cranking out all of these robo-taxis in 2026. Will Elon accept Dogecoin as payment on those robo-taxis? Now I know what everybody's thinking. Oh, Chris is Dogecoin. You never know with him. He's the wild card, right? He's the wild card in all this, both with X money, as well as these robotaxis. So yeah, that is what could get Dogecoin to go on these big spikes. So in April, let's just say, right, X money launches and there's hints of Tesla and Elon is doing something. We could see 20 to 30 cent Dogecoin in April. The pullback, I think, is still going to happen over the summer. Again, Dogecoin goes on big runs and then pulls back. We saw that in the bear market 2022. I'm still kind of bearish in 2026. So I still think it's going to be an overall green year because we started down here at 11.8. We started at 11.8. Now, could we have those big dips down to 6 cents, 7 cents for Dogecoin in the middle of the summer? I think so. I think that is still going to be the case. I still think we're going to have Bitcoin dropping to 69, 67, somewhere around there. I think those drops are in the cards, and I'm going to be waiting to buy on dips. Unfortunately, it's kind of a bearish outlook, but I don't think the big crypto narratives overall are going to be great for the market, including Bitcoin. So I'm going to remain somewhat bearish, but also positive about big spikes for Doge. And again, we always like the memes. Andy has this one here that I just love, so let's listen in.
Yo, we the Dogecoin crew, stacking digital stacks to the moon. We go, we don't play trap for the rang, for the blue, feel the beat, it's our rain. Yo, we the Dogecoin crew, stacking digital stacks to the moon. We go, we don't play trap for the rang, for the blue, feel the beat, it's our rain.
Yeah, this guy looks kind of like Pax Cat right there, right? So again, it's still a meme, right? Doge is still a meme coin. It's volatile. It's risky, right? Don't buy unless, you're willing to risk, right? Like all of that is still in play. Dogecoin is a meme coin after all. We're going to be talking about the other meme narratives. I mean, James Nguyen is all in on Pepe. He's already done a bunch of buying, and the Pepe price is up like 20%. And that's all on the backs of one guy. I don't think that's going to hold. So be very careful about that. And we'll see new things coming in, some new memes. Like every year, there's all some new memes. We'll be watching that throughout the year. You never know what's going to be the big movers. I'm actually going to be consolidating my portfolio down and then looking to make key strategic buys, most likely in the summer. That's my outlook on 2026. And it's going to be, of course, the narrative is going to be more about stable coins when it comes to U.S. Congressional legislation, the regulations, like all of that. The banks, right? We're going to have the JP Morgans and the Black Rocks and all of that in crypto more and more. They just want their grubby paws on the fees and make money off of us and our crypto. That narrative will continue as well. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think about your outlook for Dogecoin and crypto in 2026? Give the video a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.